It is unbelievable, but it is true. It is unbelievable that people today still believe that Gettiers' problem has not yet been solved. It has been solved mainly by Robert Fogelin and by myself. And since I am an NESP, living in a place far distant from the civilized world, I feel myself in need of making this advertisement. As one could say, those who have ears are bound to hear. As you know, according with the traditional definition of knowledge, the person A knows the proposition P if and only if three conditions are satisfied. 1. The condition of truth. P must be true. 2. The condition of belief. A must believe that P is true. 3. The condition of reasonable evidence. A must give a reasonable evidence for the truth of P. Gettiers' problem arises when all these conditions are satisfied. P is true, A believes that P is true, and the given evidence is reasonable. But nevertheless, it is clear that A does not have any knowledge of P. For example, Professor Stone says to John that he will this afternoon be at the university to preside the evaluation of a PhD thesis. John believes that John can give as evidence for his belief the seriousness of the event and the extreme reliability of Dr. Stone. Nevertheless, the afternoon comes and John does not know that Dr. Stone is in the university. The reason is that, though this is true, although John believes that this is true, the reason why Stone is in the university is totally detached to his evidence. In fact, Stone's family had suffered at noon a terrible car accident, and he suspended his participation in the procedure, but nevertheless needs to come rapidly to his office only to take some documents in order to come back to the hospital again. Well, the solution proposed by Fogelin is to say that in all cases of Gettier type, there is a mismatch between what the person A knows and what we as evaluators of A's knowledge claim know. We usually know more. In the present case, we as evaluators know that the evidence given by John isn't something able to make true the proposition that Stone is in the university this afternoon. It's only coincidental. The real evidences known by the evaluators are others. For example, that the car of Stone is parked there, that we saw Stone entering in his office, that we spoke with him, and so on. That is, the evidence given by A cannot be only reasonable. It must also be adequate in the sense that it must be seen by us as able to make the proposition true. What I made in my paper published in 2010 in the journal Nature was to strengthen Fogelin's solution. The first thing is to admit that knowledge evaluations are always made by real knowledge evaluators under the assumption of the informational set at his or her disposal in the time of the evaluation. So, the evaluator must know whether P is true or not according to his or her actual informational set. This means that the first condition the condition of truth must be improved. We need a condition that P is true according to the evidences given to the evaluator in the time t. For example, the evaluator knows that Stone is in the university because he saw him entering his office to take some documents. He saw him parking his car. He spoke with him, and so on. I call this set of evidences at the disposal of the evaluator at the time t concerning proposition P the corpus of evidences E*, and I understand it so that each element of the corpus of evidences must be seen as sufficient to imply the truth of P as a condition of consistency. Now consider the condition of evidence, the third condition. This condition must not only be that A has a reasonable evidence E for P, but that this evidence E must belong to the corpus of evidence E*, accepted by the evaluator, or at least after some reasoning, able to be accepted by the evaluator as belonging to an extended form of the corpus of evidences E*. In the case of John's claim to know that Stone is in the university, none of these things is the case. The evidence that Stone must be in the university because he said he would preside a PhD evaluation is completely out of order and cannot be accepted by the evaluators of knowledge as belonging to P, considering the informational set at the time of their evaluation. It cannot be considered as belonging to A*, this kind of evidence. It is important to see that knowledge evaluations are in this way always made relative to the evaluator and his set of information. This is unavoidable. For example, Columbus claimed to have discovered the new way to India would be probably accepted as knowledge in 1449, since his evidences would be probably be accepted by the evaluators, considering their informational set as sufficient to make P true. But some years later, the same evidences would be rejected by the evaluators, since they were not possibly conformed with the new corpus of evidences formed in this later time, and they would say that Columbus was not knowing what he was saying. The explanation in the article is more sophisticated, considering the counterexamples. Nevertheless, I am not aware of any counterexample of Gettier's type able to resist this new perspectival formulation of the traditional definition of knowledge.